One LP.
I'm Smidre.
I'm Dan Russell.
And this is Untold Truth. Alright, so today's topic is very, very sensitive. We have discussed it before, but the reason why I wanted to bring it up again is because when it comes to the opposite gender, it is like not seen as serious as it is for the female gender. And I'm talking about rape, sexual violence, and even sexual harassment. So when these topics come up, we tend to think about women, which is all very good, but we forget that men go through this as well. And I feel that there's sometimes a stigma attached to it as well. So we're joined here by comedian, actor, and presenter, Ogbola. Ogbola, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is a pleasure.
Thank you. So we're here.
So Ogbola, I know it's a very, very, very sensitive issue, but could you give us an idea of what exactly happens to you?
Okay, I think for me, I think this is something that a lot of guys really don't discuss about, and because guys really probably don't see it as abuse. We just see it as flexing. When you were a kid, this particular auntie touched me like this, and but over time, for me, I think I realized later that it was actually abuse. For me, it was a number of older ladies around, where we stayed back then. Usually during the holidays, when there's no one at home, and they'll probably send you on an errand, and then you have to come back to report, probably give them whatever it is that they sent you to go get, and then from there, one or two touches will begin. And then for us as younger guys, we could even discuss with our other guy friends, like see, but then it continued. Aside that, my home happened to be that kind of home where we had house helps, so we're always changing house helps per time, but at some point, one or two of them too, would do the same thing, so that was my experience really. These were things that were happening with time, I can say for years actually, because for me, I was a quiet kid, so, and then I didn't have a lot of attention from parents because I was like the middle child. You know how the middle child is never seen in the house. There's so much attention on the first and the last. So I happened to be that middle child, and then I was quiet. I didn't have a lot of attention. So while all this was happening, I wasn't vocal about it because no one was, asking me anything about me. So I went through this on my own, and I think at my later years when I grew older was when I started to realize, okay, I was actually abused. It was not flexing. I was abused, and because I'm a guy, there's really no way to say, okay, there was penetration per se, on me, because, we are external, but yeah, I was abused as a child.
Yeah, because any sort of like harm infliction on your body, whether or not there's penetration, it is harassment.
Yeah.
And like you said, people say, oh, because you're a guy, it's flexing. But did it have any emotional impact on you?
Well, for me, I think probably because I realized very early that I was abused. Luckily, before I even got into entertainment or whatever, I had kind of the right set of men around me at some point. I really did not have my father being there for me, but somehow I had other men who helped me with one or two things, mentally. And somewhere in that line, I think I was still in my teenage age when I got the first idea that I was molested, and this was still early at my teenage age, So I think I dealt with it earlier. But then having to discuss with some of my other friends later on, I saw how it affected some of them. The same issues, a house help, for some of them an auntie, for some of them an older woman. For me, I can't really say it affected me in a particular way, probably because I dealt with it early, I noticed early, and I kind of adjusted early, But for some other friends of mine some are even married. I had a discussion with one of them sometime towards the end of last year when there was this issue of, about rape and all that. And he practically told me he just got married. I don't want to mention his name because he's a very popular person, I was like, man, for a while, his wife couldn't really touch him. Because what happens to us guys, and this is something I believe a lot of guys are not very aware of, is that when you're abused, you end up becoming a pleaser. Because what these aunties or these abusers usually do is that they use you to satisfy their lusts. So you are practically working on them. You're practically doing stuff on them. In a way, it sets you as a guy to be a pleaser. But you don't understand what touch feels like. So for him, for example, he told me, man, he realized late that this was the cause. This was the reason why when his wife touches him, he does that, but he was very available to always want to please her, but at the end of the day, I also believe that the wife would also want to touch her husband, and just feel like, okay, she's actually doing the loving, So for me, it didn't have like an effect on me per se, but I've seen what has done to other people. So I feel it needs to be talked about.
Yeah. But I mean, because like you said, you've seen what has happened to many of your friends. So of course, there are a lot of men who go through this,
yes.
and a lot more than we realize,
yeah.
and who do experience the psychological effects of it.
Yeah.
So why is it still seen as a bad thing to talk about it as a man?
I think that for men have not been given a lot of opportunities to really voice these things.
So it's more about the opportunity.
Yes, and platforms like this have not really been created for, like, this is the first time I'm actually talking about it probably on TV, aside probably one or two discussions I've had with a few people. I know, and like I said earlier, because probably guys before now have seen it as flexing. It's what guys will discuss among themselves. So, oh boy, get one house help that year. She just, use me.
Yeah.
And so guys talk about it not as abuse, but as fun. But thinking about it, we are actually abused, and for some people, for some guys, because of those kind of experiences or that experience, they become overly sexually active, because these are the side effects of this thing. You see some people who are overly sexual, active, for some people, it's the opposite. They are not active at all. You can't touch them, they can't touch you. There's that, so it has its effects. Some people become bipolar, you get. So there are the side effects to these things. And I think I was lucky enough to have been able to, adjust. But I don't think opportunities have really been given to guys to express these things. And then more guys need to know that this was an abuse. Yeah. Some your innocence was taken away from you at some point in your life. These are not experiences you should have at that age. You get. So more guys need to come to the awareness that this wasn't right. It wasn't flexing. It was actually an abuse, and more opportunities need to be created for guys to actually express themselves.
Yeah, I also feel like most parents should actually do more pay attention to their kids, because I have lots of my new friends, which all of them so far, first time they actually had sex with somebody, either a house help, an aunt that came to the house to spend the weekend, and then she actually raped them. At that point in time, they just felt like it was flexing, and they were, like he said, like they felt cool about it. That. And even when I wanted to invite a friend of mine to this program, I felt like, hey, I mean, it doesn't happen so much to guys like that. You get, so they don't want to come and actually voice it, because it makes them look uncool. Do you understand? So I feel like parents should pay more attention to their kids. And for me personally, I wouldn't have the house help come to sleep over in my house. I mean, you just come clean and then leave, because there are lots of things that they will do to abuse your child. And you see men today, that's why we see men today, and we say, oh, this guy is sexually active, it's true. These are all effects. We don't even know the foundation is where everything starts from. So I feel like as parents, they should actually pay attention to their children.
Definitely.
The same kind of attention, that they give, to the female. So you pay the same kind of attention to the male, because it's actually happening a lot.
Definitely. And it also makes me think about the fact that when you think of the word pedophile, you think of like an older
man
to
a younger girl.
But you don't necessarily associate pedophilia with women. But it's actually true. I mean, if there is an older woman who is preying on a young boy who's under the age of 18 or 16, depending on their age, then she's a pedophile.
Yes.
Simple and straight.
Yeah.
Simple and straight.
Yeah.
So it's not just men. who are these scary creatures, but also women as well. But you're very, very right about, educating people. So we are wrapping up. Is there any final thing you'd like to say?
Just like she said, I mean, parents also need to begin to, pay more attention to male kids, because oftentimes the attention is solely on the women. Parents need to, because for me, like I said earlier, I wasn't giving a lot of attention. So that created that void. Myself and my mother have never discussed this. If she sees this on TV, she may be shocked. Like, well, I've gone past that and I'm done with that. But parents need to, and guys need to also come to realize that, look, it wasn't flexing, you were raped. You were abused.
And even maybe educating the young kids for them to actually understand that somebody who touches them is actually wrong. There's a certain level when you touch a child and the child should actually know that this is inappropriate. So there should be that awareness for children to also know, because it starts at a young age.
Yes. And finally, I would like to say social media. Social media can be a very, very terrible place if used wrongly. So when female victims come out to say something happened to me, there is a lot of criticism on women, and I can only imagine there's a lot of criticism on men as well. When they come out, there's like, you're a man. I mean, it is flexing, like you said, Obola. So there just needs to be a whole reorientation of the mindset here in Nigeria. But Obola, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much
for talking about this as well, because it's not easy. It's not easy, but you are strong.
Man, I like I said earlier, I mean, I've taken care of this a long time ago. So I feel, man, if given the opportunity to actually voice out, if you could help one or two people out there, I mean, I'm available to talk about these things.
All right, but what about you? We want to ask you, what do you think about this topic? Do you think men should speak out if they have been molested or harassed? Or do you feel that they are men, so it's flexing? Leave your comments below. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please, please, please do share as well. I'm Simi Dre.
I'm Dan Rosette, and thank you for watching
Untold Truth.
One LP.